Good morning, everybody. Let's get set up and then we will be ready to go. Let's get the fancy opening. Oh, yeah, there it is. How about some tunes? Drum roll. Good beat. Can I dance to it? Hold on. I don't think I'm a fan of this. But these are like little things. Hold on. Bomb. I can applaud for myself. Okay. All right. Let's get to it. I don't even know what that is. All right, let's do it. How's this look? Oh, that's good. I can leave the window open. I'll shut the door. But I can leave the window open, which is fantastic. So I got that going for me, which is nice. Find this nectar of the gods. What time is it? Where are we? All these freaking clocks. All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's do it. Let's do this. Guys, I'm going to give you one word that you have to use today. And remember, just one word, all right? Small caps. All right, one word. That's it, small caps. You got to focus on small caps. Let's get up that little British guy on Financial Juice. He's usually the fastest. I have other sites, but there he is. Thank you, little British guy. All right, so you want to listen to the one that I pull up when we're talking. I have no affiliation with them. It is still lukewarm. Financial. You know what's interesting while we're waiting for these numbers to come out? What I think super interesting is this. See if I can find it. So, I probably should do something like that. Hold on one second. Um, yeah, I don't think that's the worst idea. Hold on one second here. Okay, so then now.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait. Play it out. See how it goes. Bloomberg TV, U.S. jobs report, live go. I could probably pull that up too. I don't think that that's a proprietary thing. Hold on one second. They might have it sooner too. Job support special. If I can click this and see what happens. Oh, this is you're just giving me ads. So like, what am I going to do with this? That's not helpful. All right, let's get rid of that. What time do we have? Minute and a half. Let's drop you over here. There you go. You do it. You do that. Here we go. Go to here. Drop that down. And let's get to it. All right. It's exciting. All right. Unemployment rate is actually down. Oh, no, okay. All right, and then they're doing revisions. Oh man, they're doing revisions on. Yeah, the net revisions are really bad. 2 month payroll net revisions. They took out 76,000. Um, Yeah, they took these numbers down a lot, guys. These numbers are all over the place. Are you done? So they're actually pricing in 50 basis points now. Um, Get it out. Yeah, 50 basis points. All right, thank you, little British guy. All right, cool. So we got it all figured out now. We know exactly what we're doing, right? Not really. I think that the numbers were really bad as far as jobs, and they actually cut lower. So it's really bad. Like it's really bad. What's going on in non-farm payrolls? Let me see if I can find this chart. It's so interesting because let me find it. Is this the one I want to show you? Yeah, this is it. And grab this. And this is just financial juice. If you're in the community, you get this for free. So, but let me just show you this stuff. And you can get their site for nothing. But they're really good. As far as, I mean, they're almost as accurate as or darn close to Bloomberg as far as how they come out for the price point. It's pretty crazy. Unemployment rate seasonally adjusted. You can see the gap right in here, and then you start turning down. So it's definitely something that's of interest there. I wouldn't sleep on that. The other thing is, let me shut one of these things off and throw this over. How do you have 8 screens and run out of space? All right. And where's the other one that I want to look at here? There it is. And so you can see this, but okay. So here you are with the forecast. There's your hourly earnings are actually up and the unemployment's down. So, the non-farm is really a problem. It's a real issue there, and it's definitely something that has to be paid attention to. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. I think you really have to pay attention to some of this stuff. I think you've got to be really careful of that. I do think there's some interesting developments, though, and it might be like one of these things where it's behind us, and because of that, and the unemployment rate doing what it's doing, you might get more of a lift in the market today than we're expecting. That unemployment rate was really everything. That was way more than anything else, and that's why you're seeing this when as they digest it, they're getting it because they don't really care about the past revisions, even though they should. What they seem to be caring about a lot here is the non-farm is revised, but they really seem to care more about that unemployment. And I heard that unemployment a lot today. There's also household data that comes out today at the same time, which is the unemployment rate, which is really kind of good. I mean, the fact that you went to a 4.4 a year ago, you were at 4.1. The problem really is to me, teenagers, man, those young whippersnappers, they're not working at all. like not even a little bit. Was going through it all and see if there's anything there that is reasons. If there's anything weird in here. No. No. Uh-uh. No, that's why you're probably rocking. All right. Let's see what happens with it. I think it's pretty impressive that you're holding up the way that you are. I do. Let's take a look at this. One, two, three. Probably going to push. Let's go take a look over here. So what I tend to do with these kind of days, and I find most helpful, is just mark off the. Let's use that little magnet. Just mark off the first 1 minute bar, and it gives you a real good indication on where they're at. So you just want to watch that area. We'll see how it goes there. Let's go take a look at RTY and see what they're doing. I mean, that's everything right there. Again, you came right down to the end of it, and that was it. See it? So So you're flipping. I don't know. You got a shot at it for sure. You got a shot at getting up there again. We'll have to see how we open and go from there. But the lower unemployment rate was really the thing. That was definitely the the cat's pajamas there. So we'll have to see how that goes. What the heck is ripping? Oh, it means that Sandisk is probably ripping too, right? Man, oh man, this thing's a widow maker. Some of this stuff, I don't know how you crazy kids are supposed to sit there and just trade it. It's absolutely nuts. You have to scale out of this stuff. Volatility is just so insane. White knuckling it doesn't work, man. All right, let's just keep going. I think I'm better off taking questions because there's so many things that I want to go over. And what time is it? 8:40. Let's just go take questions, and we'll go from there. I think it's a better way to do this. What's up, John? Good morning. I think I did something to the desk, or maybe I got to raise the mic. Let's see if that makes it better. Spy pendant going sideways, much energy. I agree. Yeah, TPL is interesting. DPST. Well, here, let's go through a couple of these things. So the first thing I would say is DPST. There's your little break, right? So that's definitely a big deal. All right. I think it's definitely a big deal. I think if you're not looking at regional banks, you're doing yourself a huge disservice right now. It's not for the weak, I'll tell you that, but I do like it. What else did you have here? The ARGT, here's a 60%. Here's a 60%. What is it? Approval rating. So I think that's pretty darn impressive. I tend to think that, with this kind of thing, I tend to think that that whole region is going to be on fire. And that's really where my head is with it. I tend to believe that. So I guess it makes me wonder, like, what's the right move there, or what's the real move there? I don't know that I want to be there. I tell you where I think it might be. I think it really might be buying the banks, because you're going to have a lot of stabilization in that region. We're going to bring them peace and freedom, whether or not they want it. So I really think that that's the banks. They're going to see the inflows of capital because of what's going on in Venezuela and what's about to go on in Colombia, and that whole thing. I truly believe that. So I would look at those. TPL is a pickle, man. I tend to buy it when it hits. There's a very specific pattern I tend to buy it with. I don't know. I think you have to be super careful. You can be buried in this thing for a long time, John, just waiting. Good morning. So I think that that you bring up some really good points, JL. So I really like this. I'm very concerned about anything geopolitical right now, like really concerned. And if I take a look at this, I'm really struggling here, and I have a declining 55. So I'm not really crazy about that at all. I hate cold coffee. I don't mind it when it's cold, but when it starts hot and then it's warm, it's an issue. It's a real issue for me. Where am I here? Just give me 1 second here.
Order filled. Order canceled.
Man, these guys are raising a hell of a lot of money. Andreessen Horowitz just raised another $15 billion to put into AI. And people think this is over. Nothing is over. What's going on in Iran? Looks like a little revolution. Let's just keep going here. What do you got? I'd be careful there, man. I really like the name. I think the name makes so much sense. We had an awesome trade in this thing in like the 30s when people didn't understand it. Actually, Citron was on this thing at like single digits. They had the whole thing mapped out and nailed. He did an excellent job. He's pretty deadly with his longs. I'd be super. I'm always careful of the ones that just happen to go from 80 to 125, because to me, that's just not realistic. The OKL news is big. You guys want to make sure you watch that. I don't think it's realistic. I had big positions in these, very big positions, and I got out of them. I have a little bit left, but Pulte basically came out and said there's no way in God's green earth these things can go public. He's head of housing, so it's kind of hard to go. It's kind of hard to go against the guy. So I don't know. It's a coin toss, and everyone's in on the trade now. So I don't really see the edge anymore. That's where my head is. I can't tell you what to do with an option trade, dude. I can't give you financial advice. I can tell you that they have access to the first chips, I can tell you that, we bought this thing back here. I've been very happy with it. I think you're about
US for market movers.
Hold on, what's it?
Intel, Onvo, Olin.
Hold on.
Vista.
Okay. I don't know. I got so much crap going on here. I don't even know where it's coming from half the time. You know what I'm curious about? I know I'm going to go off on a tangent. Shocker. I know everyone's shocked. Are they going to start making DRAM? I wonder if they do it. I mean, they really should do it. Anyway, let's keep going because I do have to jump at exactly 9 o'clock today. I mean, I don't know that you really want to do calls, right? Like, so if Morgan Stanley put out this report on this, and I thought it was fascinating. I got to heat this. It's going to drive me freaking nuts. Give me 1 second. I'll come back. I'll go grab that in a minute. So Morgan Stanley put out this report on, it was probably 80 pages, right? And it was about robots and how long this is going to take. And you're 7-8 years out, man, from seeing like a robot, like actually being anything like this. And they're usually pretty aggressive. So I don't think that you want to be looking at it from a commercial standpoint, like, oh, this is going to happen soon. So what would I do with this? Like, it's not like you're going to go into this and you're going to see something happen. Like maybe they earn 2 million. Like I know people that pay margin interest like that. So I think you have to look at this differently. So like here, I'll give you an example. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 second. So like if you were like, hey, I really want to own Joby. Like here's my point. Here's where I'm going with this, dude. So you can see where my head is. Hey, I really want to own Joby. All right, cool. I'm looking at options. Cool. All right, Joby. They're going to be in Miami probably by March. These suckers will be zooming around. They're going to be in the UAE. They're already in the UAE, and they're going to be zooming around by March out that way. So, yeah, man, like I get that. I totally get that. So I would understand why you would have an interest in those, right? Whereas, and say I want to buy calls or I want to buy leaps, because you have an event that's going to change the architecture of their revenue. Like all of a sudden, these suckers start flying around. Do you know how many people in Miami are going to be like, I need a plane ride because I have to put it on Instagram because I'm an influencer? Like, it drives me nuts here, but that's what will happen. Or in Dubai, they just have a ridiculous amount of money. They will be using these things like people pop Skittles. So I can see a whole revenue stream coming out of something like that. So if someone said to me, I want to buy options, it'd be like, oh, so you probably want to do leaps out a year as their revenue stream changes. When you look at something like RR, how's the revenue stream going to change? Like when is the first actual thing going to be sold that's going to generate income, right? And you're talking to someone that actually owns the company. So like I just look at it and think the stock at $4 or when we bought it like 280, to me, it's just like it's an option in and of itself. So I would buy less, like how can I say this? I would be buying less stock than an option. Do you know what I'm saying? I would just buy stock that's in perpetuity because it's $4. And I think that's how you should look at it. It's a long answer, but the reason that I gave the long answer the way that I did is because I think that you have to look at it for what it is. I really think you have to look at it for what it is. And I think that that's really important to get. Like, you don't have anything that's going to change the framework of the fundamentals of the corporation in the short term, as you did with the example I gave you in Joby. So hopefully that makes sense. What's up, brother? Hello from Japan. Hello from Miami. Well, I think the residential mortgage market is, so I looked into this move yesterday with what Trump's doing. And, a lot of people are looking at this stuff, and I'm not knocking it. And I don't know these, dude. Like, I don't know them at all. I'm watching what's going on with Rocket and how Rocket's moving on this news. And to me, I think Rocket makes the most sense out of all this stuff. And I'll tell you why. Because they're going to be able to sell more mortgages now because they're going to have a demand for it. So what the biggest threat right now to the current administration is very simple. It is affordability. That's what he thinks it is. I think it's something greater, but like, he thinks that's what it is, right? It doesn't matter really it does matter what I think, but because I'm going to trade on what I think. But if he loses the midterms, he's a lame duck. Like, he just is. It's like he can just scream and kick and do whatever he wants, but he'll be a lame duck. So he's worried about affordability. So when he comes out and says, I'm going to buy $200 billion, or they're going to buy $200 billion. Well, at the same time they're saying that, there's a couple of things. We're going to buy $200 billion in market, right? We're going to buy $200 billion in mortgage-backed securities. All right. So here's the balance sheet. This is the Fed balance sheet. They stopped working it off at the exact time that he's coming in. Like, if you go to this is your balance sheet, right? And you can see this is where everybody was buying what? JPEGs and calling them NFTs, right? We were all geniuses. Shocker how that worked, right? But you'll see that they stopped running off, and he's actually buying more. But this is where I'm going with it. So that's going to stop. And then on top of that, and maybe it's this one, dude. Maybe it's this one. Maybe this is where it is. The residential mortgage. Maybe it's this one. So what you're having here is you're having these kinds of moves, right? But I'm just going to tell you where my head's going with it. So if I look at something like this, I think the best way to play it is to think about, well, what's the next thing? Because they buy 200 billion, they're capped. Aha, you say. They're not capped. Once they buy that 200 billion, they reassess everything. They can go back in the market and do it again and do it again. Now, I don't really want, I mean, we've seen this suck salad before, and it doesn't end well for the homeowner. But I think they're going to do it because if they can eat demand up, if they can eat demand of mortgages up, places like Rocket Labs can underwrite more mortgages and sell more mortgages. So can Lending Tree, right? I'm pretty sure they do mortgages too, don't they? I think that's where it's going. So I don't know if these guys do mortgages, like how they do mortgages. I don't know. You'll know more about it than I do. But the one that stood out to me was Rocket. Like this makes so much sense to just like, you own this and you forget that you own it. It makes a lot of sense that that's how this is going to go because of what's going on today. Like, that makes a ton of sense to me. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm trying to think what else that I had that was really interesting about this. It's not like they're going to sell any more off the Fed balance sheet, right? People love Japan when they go there. They love it. I've never heard anyone travel there and be like, oh, what an awful trip. Like, they love it. VST, the news was really big from Meta. I actually thought you'd get bigger news on OKLO since they have zero in revenue, but this is what you have right now. KTOS is pretty much the cat's pajamas as far as being in with the government. I'm not really one of these guys that buys this kind of stuff when it's up like this, because if I don't have a base behind it, you're setting yourself up. And frankly, even then, you're still setting yourself up. So, you got to be super, like, to me, you got to be super careful with it. You got to be super, super careful with it. So I would, I'll just leave it at that. What's up, Mom? Good morning. People are going crazy for this. I mean, people are going absolutely crazy for this. He flipped, I hate when I do this stuff and then I don't do it. He flipped everything in here. I forget what day he did it. Hold on, what's saying? I'll tell you exactly when he did it. And I saw it coming. I didn't do anything about it. Give me a second. I'll have it in my notes. Instead of putting all my notes in like Notional and then use their AI to find stuff. Super helpful. Okay, here. October 15th was the date. Right in here. This is when he did that fashion show. And he went back to like the old school supermodel fashion show. Right? It was still pretty inclusive, but he went to like that old school look of like, the supermodels and all that. From that date on, they've been selling tons of underpants. So look at them. I mean, it's doubled. Like people want that kind of stuff again, like that old school kind of thing. It's up 100% since then. The one that makes the most sense to me still is AEO, because it's become like cool again since everybody wants to wear their special jeans. This one's trading 13 times earnings. And I've been in this since 6 times earnings. I started buying it back here. And down here, I think it was trading 6 times last year's earnings. Like, it was freaking ridiculous where this thing was at. So, that's kind of how I saw it, but, we'll see, and then go from there. But I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. So I'm trying to think what else I have here that's super interesting that's going on here. Let me just see something. I don't know that I want to do that. All right. So they're the ones I'd look at, Mon. I'm going to have to go at 9 o'clock, guys. What's up, Tariq? It's got to hold 430 today. If they vote against the tariffs, bonds will sell off, retail will rocket. That's the consensus. That's kind of cool, though. I got a gong. Yeah, I do have a gong. Hold on. Wait, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. There was a gong. Where'd it go? Here it is. And then I can clap for myself. All right. Small caps. Several. I use several. You have to find the one you're comfortable with. No. No. Come on, man. You can't be able to trust those numbers probably ever. But come on, man. You can't trust those numbers since the Gulf of Tonkin. That's just what we know about. We should totally do an after dark tinfoil hat episode of Arete trading. Tons, dude. Tons of monkey business there. Sats is a monster, dude. There's nothing to do with it. I have 2 55s that I'm looking at. And I can split those each into 3. They're curved. I don't actually like the curved 55s, to be blunt, but I paid a fortune for them, so I keep them. And then over to the right, I've got 2 32s. So good morning, buddy. Someone said RR is running. George like crawling on his hand. All right. Gregory's choosing violence this morning. I saw the figure move. VST, we went over all that winning and liberation. I don't know. I saw some tweet today. I'm like, that can't be a real tweet. I'm like, there's no way that's a real tweet that he bought calls and he's telling everybody he bought calls. There's no way that's real. But these days, no, honestly, you want to know when I'll buy it? I don't like government subsidy stuff, but I'll tell you when I get involved is when they do DRAM. I will buy the heck out of that they do DRAM, because even they can't screw up DRAM. And they have the ability to do it. I don't know why they're not doing it. They really should do DRAM. And I really don't know why they're not doing it. I truly don't know. Like they should totally be doing it. So yeah, you like that? All right, hold on 1 second. How's it looking yesterday? It looks I got killed in that. Are you throwing shade? Are you in the community? Like I got slaughtered in this thing yesterday. Of course you're up $40 today. Of course you are. Like I got killed in this yesterday. I haven't had a trade go that against me that fast in a long time. That's the one thing I would say about this market. The one thing that I would say to you about this market is the breadth of it. There's no depth. You have breadth, but you have no depth. Like, I mean, I'm like, all right, I've been wanting to get in. It was at like 305. I'm like, all right, this is where I want to buy it. That 305 we've been holding. It went up. I'm up like $8. I'm a genius. Like somebody sneezes. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then I come in today, 308. Like, no, thank you. So you want to watch this stuff. I would just be super, super careful this morning about everything. I'm more of the school of, even as we've been talking, as my names are like going up, I'm actually scaling out into them. This is my hand signal for scaling out, I guess. So just FYI. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on there. Well, they've lost all their money before, right? Look at all the people that came over here in the 80s when that flipped. Or was it the 70s when that all flipped? I don't remember. Go look at what that country looked like 40 years ago. It was beautiful. Let's see. Taiwan Semi came out. They had pretty decent numbers. I don't know why people are shocked by that, but let's see there. Yeah, I would look into that, dude. It's really interesting. You sound like me. You're welcome on. Have a great weekend. Look into those. PLTR. I don't know. This thing's just like, they're so weak, man. My problem with the market is this. Like, there's just no bid to it. I got to jump, guys. Trade to win. I'm going to go over a lot in Saturday's video. The deep dives and keeping the Saturday's video that way seems to be pretty good. People seem to like it, so I'll do another Saturday deep dive. I already have it pretty marked off. Have a great weekend. See you guys. Oh, if you're on the wait list to get into the community, it should be probably around the 15th is what I'm thinking. So I'll see you. Have a great weekend.